Welcome. I am Lati Akeredoluale. Tonight, Senate moves to investigate allegations of corruption against the GMD of the NNPC, Mekanti Baru, and Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. Federal government approves 26 billion of 67 billion naira owed power distribution companies as part of measures towards tackling Nigeria's electricity supply challenge. EFCC rearrests former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labour over 606 million naira fraud while answering charges over undeclared assets in a Lagos court. And pro-secession Catalans defy Spain's king, continue push for independence.
And on business news tonight, OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Bakindo sees price equilibrium in global oil market next year.
On sports news, Rivers Angels demolished Bielsa Queens 4-0 to reach the final of the ITO Cup for a record 9th time.
We begin tonight with the reaction that is already trailing the leaked memo from the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachikwu, to President Muhammadu Buhari. That memo is already raising dust, and it appears there may be more reactions on the matter as the week goes on. The Senate is the first to react to the leak by setting up an ad hoc committee to investigate issues raised in the leaked memo, especially regarding the allegations of corruption within the NNPC. Our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, reports.
Resuming from their recess 2 weeks ago, the Senate President had encouraged senators to keep on exposing corruption as part of their responsibilities to Nigerians. This is the focus of two major motions the lawmakers consider in plenary. The first comes as a point of order. It's on the allegations raised by Senator Issa Misau against the Inspector General of Police, which has been in the media for 2 months now.
If you invite the IG here, he will not be able to justify why one person who is just dealing in oil will have 30 policemen, therefore depleting the ratio that we are even already in shortage of. There is no way you will be promoting people close to you, whereby so many people are there in the rank. For 10 years, somebody will come and stay in the rank for just 3 months because he's close to you, then you will promote him.
He calls for an investigation into the matter.
They are undermining the police and thereby increasing the crime. Most of the things that were happening today is because of lack of indiscipline, because of lack of leadership of the police. You see kidnappings everywhere.
I think for most of us, the most important issue is how we reform our institutions and how we fight corruption. The basis of all this started on the issue of whether there were bribery in the issue of promotion exercises and revenue of police. And these matters, I think, are weighty enough and they must be investigated.
An ad hoc committee has been set up to investigate the allegations against the police, while the Senate Committee on Ethics is to investigate issues regarding the senators' disengagement from the police. The committee has 2 weeks to turn in its report. Meanwhile, a motion on allegations of corruption against the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Trading Limited is up for consideration. The sponsor is alleging that a policy of the group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation is affecting the country negatively.
Aware that since NNPC owns NNPC Trading Limited and the refineries, they also shortlist companies that get allocation of products, lifting of crude oil, and importation of products, thus giving undue advantage to the in-house company, even where it lacks the capacity and requisite requirements to do what it's doing today.
He calls for an investigation into the matter. An additional prayer is, however, proposed.
To include investigate the allegations made against the GMD of NNPC by the Honorable Minister of State of Petroleum Resources as contained in his leaked letter to Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The motion is adopted and an ad hoc committee is set up to investigate the matter. The Senate President says the committees must carry out their duties diligently as the Senate is determined to stamp out corruption. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Electricity supply is still a major challenge for Nigeria's federal government and indeed Nigerians. And now more than ever, the federal government appears ready to tackle the problem head-on. First, by implementing some of the reforms designed to give the sector a facelift. The first line of action is the approval of payment of 25.99 billion naira to electricity distribution companies by the Federal Executive Council today. Our correspondent, Ibrahim Adra, reports on this and other decisions which formed the crux of discussions at the council meeting.
Right after the meeting, Minister for Works, Power and Housing highlights some key points. First, that the payment demonstrates government support for the private sector. Two, there is going to be further verification at the state and local government levels. And then he explains how this payment will be made.
The government has also approved that this amount that has now been quantified and approved as a debt be set off against the amount owed by the discos to Embed, which is a 100% government-owned company, because they owe, you've only always had one side of it that government owes them. The other side is that they also owe government for their unremitted collections for energy that they have taken and have not remitted a full amount. They are owing about 500 and something billion to government.
He pointed out that part of the over 41 billion naira differential is money owed by public international organizations, but classified as government debts. In the agriculture sector, the government's yam export policy is reported to have suffered a setback, as a consignment sent to the United States is of poor quality.
We'll investigate both the company that exported it and ask our quarantine department to check and find out why such a consignment left here.
Mr. Ogbe talked about a meeting between rice farmers and millers, where they have agreed to work towards crashing the price of rice in the country.
That means that in the next 1 month, since harvest of rice has begun in earnest, the price of rice will become reasonable and the cost of rice, as we've been hearing of, would have reduced substantially. We shall continue to pursue that. And the ministry is also equipping farmers with materials to make rice harvesting easier, so that the labor costs of rice harvesting will be substantially reduced.
The meeting of the rice processors seeks to bring down the price of 50-kilogram bag of rice to as low as 6,000 naira in a couple of months. From the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
4 years after the power utilities were handed over to their private owners, it's been a mixed bag of performance. For the distribution companies, liquidity squeeze on paid debts, especially by government establishments, remains a major setback in investing the necessary funds to improve distribution. In addition to these are the issues around tariff, energy theft, and gas supply, amongst others. With today's decision by the Federal Executive Council to pay part of the debt owed to the discos, it means in a few weeks the companies will receive the money. The next leg will be how quickly they can deploy that to improve distribution of electricity in the country. Joining me from Kaduna in northwest Nigeria is the Executive Director, Advocacy, National Association of Electricity Distributors, Mr. Sunday Odunton. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians. Thank you.
This must be pleasant news to you, the approval of this money for payment.
Well, it's a good news, a welcome development, a good start. This one is 25.9 billion naira, not a whole lot, but we like to first of all commend the Honorable Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babajide Fashola, for his personal commitment and effort right from the beginning, because what he started doing in 2015 is beginning to yield fruit. And we believe that if we can begin to improve on the fortune of the sector, Nigerians and everybody will be happy for it. So it's a good start. But I would like to also say that going forward, I would like to implore the federal government to ensure that the ministry, departments, and agencies pay their bill as at when due, so that we won't have to accumulate all these over 3.5 years as we have now. We also pray that what has been approved today is paid on time. There is one thing to get an approval, is another thing for it to be paid on time. So we believe and we have faith that this will be done. In the case of military, police, and prison, we have offered that they should allow us to give them what we call maximum demand prepaid meters. Meters that they can be paying as they go. This has not been the case. This is another appeal to the government that we should do this so that we can solve the problem in the sector once and for all.
Now, you mentioned the issue of billing. So that brings me to another question. Many consumers get what are referred to as estimated bills right up until now, which brings up the issue of metering them. Now, this money that you are expecting now to be paid, since you've gotten approval for it, is any part of that going to go towards ensuring that your customers get meters so that they pay only for electricity that has actually been consumed?
Excellent. No doubt about that. Metering is something that we very much want to do, but it's good for all of us to get the figure right, to understand the fundamentals.
We do sincerely apologize. We seem to have lost Mr. Odunton there. Security operatives have uncovered a hotel in the Abule Egba area of Lagos where petroleum pipeline vandals operate from. The culprits allegedly damaged pipelines, scooped petroleum products into tankers and gallons while pretending to be running hotel services. Officials of the security agency monitoring the pipelines told Channels Television that they discovered a host dispensing fuel into a tanker packed in the premises of the hotel in the middle of the night during a patrol. 5 of the staff of the hotel, located at 31 Social Club Road, Abule Egba, have been arrested and are in police custody. In part 2, after the break, calls for Nigeria's unity re-echo in Anambra State as Nigerians honor former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Anyaoku, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka. Please stay on with us.